Today's DIY features this handsome scarecrow. He has a beautiful little sunflower and crow upon his head. We're using velvet ribbon for the hat. And as you can see, the Bedspring scarecrow. And I want to show you how I made him. For this DIY, this is the Bedspring scarecrow. You'll need a 2.5 inch to 3 inch styrofoam ball. I'm going to repurpose a mason jar lid and of course a bed spring. You'll need a piece of fabric that is 9 by 9, and we're also going to use some strips, so you'll have to cut some strips too. So let's get started. So I've already marked out my fabric so that I know where to cut, and as I said, this 9 by 9 inch square is going to be to cover the styrofoam ball. Now for me, I'm going to take the long edge of my fabric, and this has already been tea dyed versus coffee stain, and I'm just going to nip these right around 1 inch so that I can tear this strip of fabric, and you'll need several pieces in order to accomplish this. Just snip your fabric and begin pulling so that you get that nice tattered edge, and that's really going to make the scarecrow look even better. Now to fit around my mason jar lid here, I'm going to say that the strips need to be roughly 8 inches long, and I'm just going to cut a couple here and make any adjustments that I need to make. Let's see if 8 inches is going to be sufficient of my fabric. They don't have to be perfect, and that will give us an idea. I'm just going to take my fabric, pull it through here, just like you were doing a price tag. Real simple and easy. It'll take you just a minute to do it. So once I've got that tail, just pull it through there, out to the other side, and that's going to be sufficient right there. 8 inches. We'll go all the way around. And just take your time and put your strips on there. And any kind of pieces that you got left over of your muslin would look real good on this. It doesn't have to be stained. I just happen to have my stained fabric and decided to use it. And that way you can put your knot below the lip here, and it'll good and cover, and it'll stay. So I've gotten all of this tied on, and it looks pretty good for the collar. So this is going to be the part that will go right here on the bed spring. And now I've got the styrofoam ball inside of the square, and I just need to tie this up with some jute twine and buckle it down. Looking really, really good. It has all these nice little creases. Now I went ahead and trimmed off the difference after I tied my jute twine on that styrofoam head, and I pulled these down. I had them up like this, but you want to kind of bring those down around that ring, and we're going to glue that head right here in the center. And you just want to glue around that edge and then place it on there if you are following this, and just figure out which side you really want to work and facing. You know, I always look around because one always looks better than the other. Now if you are looking for the springs, I have them available on my website, so I'll be sure to leave a link in the description box down below for DIY supplies. It'll be under that and be real easy to find. And I'm just going to place my head right in there, exactly the direction I'm wanting to work on. Just really making sure that that is centered there, kind of judged by the little tie. And that takes care of that. That's a pretty done deal. Now I've got my fabric I've chosen. I think I'm going to use this one for his nose. Home Sun or anything really looks good, and it only takes just a swatchet of fabric to make the nose. And I'm just going to like cut a square here. Most of them are done in like this rectangular type nose. You can do that. You can also do it in a triangle, which I think is what I'm going to do. Get the size I want. Also, the pot holder tops from the oven mitts that we did on the previous video, I'm going to take the black, and I've already cut the threads away from it, and I've drawn me an oval circle. I'm going to create a couple of eyes. I'm just going to go ahead and cut 2 out and see how I like those. And if they're too much, I can always make them a little smaller. I'm going to go ahead and get everything glued into place. Then that way I can just go ahead and have his face done. That takes just a moment. Spread out that glue. He's looking pretty snazzy with his eyes and nose in. I also have this twisted rusty Tim wire. This is the 16 gauge, and I got this from Factory Direct. I'll be sure to leave you a link for it, and I'm going to use that for his smile. Now, the way I determine how much is basically I know that this 1/2 inch here I'm not going to curl because I'm going to push it into the foam. That way it stays. I don't even have to glue it. And I go out above his head because I figure by the time I twist the wire, that's going to be efficient. And if it's too much, I can trim it back. So it's usually about right. Now, I've got that much length. I take my pencil, 1/2 inch from the end, and then that's when I start twisting it. And I don't twist it up too awful tight because I want to be able to stretch it out and get that unique smile for him. So I go ahead and I twist all of it except the last 1/2 inch, and I want both of them pointing in the same direction. Then I can slide it off, and that's going to make his smile, and that looks about right. And so I can always do it like this, bring them back, and that kind of creates that. So now I can bend it downward a little bit so it makes kind of a smile, and go right underneath his eyes right about here and push it into the foam. So I do one side at a time. Usually I can get both going, but on this one I want to kind of make sure it's uniquely shaped. How's that look for his smile? Now I have a piece of 5 by 10 inch burlap for his hat. And what I do is I'm wanting a fray down here, so I'll pull out as many of the threads as I want to create the fray down here. And then this will be the top edge of the brim, and I'll just do a few on it. I don't want a whole lot, not as much as the bottom. And the sides are pretty good. They just have a little bit of fray on each end. Now I'm going to take my Elmer's glue, and you want to do it like fray check. And fray check is just fabric glue that we use that keeps it from fraying anymore. And that thin layer there, and let it dry once you put it down, and just smooth it out. Did you ever wonder what the notches were around the top? Well, for one, it helps your fingers to grip, but number two, it also works as a rubbing so that you can rub that glue down just like I did right there. And since Elmer's glue dries clear, we don't have to worry about it. And you can speed and hasten the drying of this with our heat gun. There. That's all we do. Now we dry it. That's all good and dry now. The next thing I want to do is, this is my bottom edge and this is my top edge. So I just want to take and I want to crisscross them right here. And you see this like 2-inch square? That's about the best I can explain it. Is if you were to look through it, you would see this perfect little 2-inch square. And all you want to do here is turn it at a diagonal. And from this diagonal down is where you want to put your glue. So basically here, and just a small amount to hold the two together. Once again, don't let your glue be in a pile. And just lay that down, and that will hold that piece together. Next, we want to take one of our cords here, and we're going to thread that. And I use one of the tapestry pins. You can get these at like Walmart or anywhere, Hobby Lobby, craft store. And I thread that cord through there because it helps me to kind of control this. Because when I bring this together on my Scarecrow, I know that that crossed area, the beginning of that pitch, is going to be about the top of his nose. And then I can kind of bring this up and hold to it, because I want the stove pipe of his hat to be up top. And I'm going to slide that up. And so I'm staying in line with his nose. That's my center. And I know that if I were to bring this up here and flip up his edges, I could see his eyes. So about right here in this area where I've got that brought together, kind of got it pleated. And I take my needle and thread and I just really, truly just go through all the layers and come out the back. Now here, I want to just go through the back only. I don't want to go through the front. I just want to go through this back layer. And then I'm going to come through all the layers here back to the front. And this helps me to tie this, control it, and adjust it. That way it stays put exactly the way I have it right there. And I still have my stovepipe opening. So I'll just put like a little bow right here in this and just tie it just so it stays together. I don't have to be taut. I could just put a plain old tie, leave it loose, and then that way if I need to, I can untie this and make any adjustments. Now, I just got like a single bow there. Just pull that down a little bit. And there we go. We've got our little hat together. Now we can go about positioning it on his head and seeing whereabouts we want it to be. Get it situated. Okay, so that looks about right. Now we need to do some raffia for his hair before we put on his cap. When you've gathered up the amount of raffia you want, I either tie it or I take a smaller one and I just wind it around it. Keep it gathered. I'm going to glue it center of his head there. And once that glue has set up, I can then situate his hat and trim off the raffia and make sure that it just looks exactly the way that I want it to look. Because I like it to be like a lot going on there. And so you see that nice little popping up it does now that it's glued there. They'll look pretty good. Can work on his hat. We've got this situated and we know that we want to place it here, and I want that hat to come down in the back. I want that fray to show off, so I literally can take it, just pull it down, and that's usually the first place that I glue mine. Is I put a little bit in the back and get it to stay, and then I can do the front and style it. So I'm just going to put a small amount through there, and then that way I can take his cap, pull it down exactly where I'm wanting that fray to hit. And that happens pretty fast, and then I can do the front the same way. So what I do is in the front, I decide how far back I'm probably going to flip that hat, somewhere about there, and I can go ahead and put a little bit of glue there and get his hat to stay. And that's usually close to the top there. That way when I bring it back over here, then if you need to, you can push these out a little more. Just pull on them. That way those solid ones, they can pull apart. Come one, now they're two. So now I'm making some for the top of his hat. This is a lot smaller, and it does not take a whole lot to do the top. Now I'm just going to glue that down there in the top. Go ahead and put some on this part. Now I got this velvet, and I'll be sure to put you a link down below. And this is the 1 inch wide. This stuff is so gorgeous. There's just a small pin in here to hold it. And I think that is just going to look awesome on him. It's just a little bit, I think, is all it will need. Okay, now I want to take and fold these up. So I'm going to put a little bit of glue back there so that when that touches, it'll stay in place. I'm just going to flip that back, and I'm going to do the other side the same way. Now I've got these little bitty sunflowers, and I'm just going to take this little bit of plastic nub off the back where I pulled it off, and I'm going to glue that here on his hat. And I usually always end up doing something on the right side. I don't know why, it just ends up being on the right side. It just seems to be suitable. And then my crow, I have the crow, and it could fit up there. If you are looking for the crows, you'll find the link down below and right here on the screen. You can purchase these black crows, a pack of 6, to put in all of your primitive or autumn and fall DIYs. And they are really, really already black and finished, ready to go. What I do is I take and I go ahead and I cut off the legs. That way it sits more level and I can put it left or right. And I just kind of make it look like he's nested here. And I just put him right back there behind that little flap, like he's in the hat. And he works out just great. So I'm going to put him there, slide him back here, and let him just take a seat right there in the front. And that looks pretty sharp. Really, really good. So for a final touch, I want to put a little sign on him. And right here's the spring. And just set him on the spring. And if you are looking for these bed springs, you can find them right here on the website. And purchase one of your own if you would like to have a spring. So he's looking pretty good. I just need to add his sides. And he will sit there. You don't have to glue him or anything. I have some leftovers from the strips that's already on him, but I'm going to put a background on it. And I want to make it just a little bit longer than what he's got there. So that looks pretty nice. And I'll just take and put my words on this piece. Got my stamps here. If you are looking for these small wooden box with letters, and these are really, really small, I'll put a link for these. And I'm just going to do the black. Okay, that takes care of the words pretty good. Now I'm going to take just a piece of burlap, the length here, a little bit longer than it is. I do have this new one I haven't tried yet, the carved pumpkin, and you've seen me use the rusty hinge. Let's try this carved pumpkin out and see how it will look. This one is new, and I just really thought this would look great for fall and primitives. And I'm super excited to try this out. It looks really orangey. And we got a little bit of that kind of going on here. Let's see what we get. Oh yeah, that looks nice. They'll make it stand out real good too. Make it deeper on the sides here, like a warn sign. Yeah, that'll look really good on him. I think that'll pop. I am going to do a little bit of the rusty hinge just to see what we get mixing those two together. Give some depth to it. I like it really, really good. That looks super good. We put this tag here coming down. Definitely want to kind of twist it up a little bit, soften it some. So where I put the glue on there, the burlap and all, get it a little bit frayed out here. I got me a little safety pin here. I have some little black ones and they are just awesome. I'm just going to bring it through the fabric and back into the tag, button it down. That looks super cute right there. Super cute. I think I've got it pinned in about the right spot. So what do you think? Definitely leave comments and let me know how you like this DIY. And be sure to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. I appreciate any and all thumbs up. That really helps me more than you know. Lets me and YouTube know that you enjoyed the video, and they'll share you more of the like. Come over and visit on the Facebook page. You may find a few things over there that you enjoy, and definitely some other crafts that other creators have shared. So we finished making our scarecrow. He looks smashing with his crow and his little sunflower upon his bed spring. He has his burlap backed sign here, happy fall y'all. And as you can see, he is quite charming. Fished out raffia for straw, and he has a wire smile. He looks absolutely great. I think we did a wonderful job, and you can make yours too.